Alright, y'all. So there is one character that I feel like a lot of people are not using as much. I'm sure people are still probably using her, but I don't think they're using her as much. And it's crazy because I don't want to say this character fell off, but she's definitely lessened, and she is still lessening in value as time goes on. They just keep dropping new crazy characters, right? Like this character used to be arguable #1 in the game, and it's called power creep. I get that. She used to be, in my opinion, the best character in the game, and now she's not even top 10, right? And that is Modernia. Now a lot of people might be like, Zxous, you're crazy. She is definitely still top 10, but then it's like, if you really sit down and think about it, is she? Because I could name a few characters that are already over her in rankings and that I would have in my top 10 that would really make you guys think, oh, maybe Modernia is not in top 10, right? For example, Red Hood, Rappy, Cinderella, Scarlet Black Shadows, Little Mermaid, Crown, Favorite Item Helm, Litter, right? That's already 8 different characters out of 10 that I would have in my top 10 over Modernia. And I'm sure there's 2 more that I would have over Modernia. I don't want to get into that right now, but I do want to try her out because Modernia has been my most invested character since day 1, right? This has easily been my most invested character since literally day 1. This is my first ever 10-10-10 character, my first ever fully overload character. I think this was my character, right? I was fending for this character and all that stuff. I have her gotcha outfit and all that stuff, so I do want to use her in 2025 with the new characters we have, like the new types of supports and stuff like that, as a main DPS, and see how far she is able to get, right, in terms of her damage, or her damage is looking like, and all these little things, right? So she is a fire type, so we're gonna go here and stuff like that. Again, I am going to use her with the Monstrous Trio and stuff like that. I think I'm going to compare her to my Rappy, just because obviously Rappy is a character that is also like a very powerful DPS and stuff like that. I'm going to try to make this fair by giving them both the Resilience Cube. I don't necessarily need the Resilience Cube on both of them, but heck, why not? And then I just want to see, what is her damage looking like today? Like, is this character that, like, is she falling off so much, or is she still up there, right? Right, we're gonna go against bosses and take a look today, right? But I do feel like Modernia is a character that genuinely a lot of people don't look at anymore. Not the same, definitely not. Like, a lot of people would still look at Litter the same, a lot of people will still look at Scarlet Black Shadow the same, a lot of people still look at Red Hood the same, and Red Hood came out the same year as Modernia, right? It's just people won't look at Modernia the same, which is unfortunate, but it's true, right? And especially because she was a character that was a great off burst 3 unit. She was not a character who was that crazy when you used her burst skill. But let's take a look at her damage. So she's currently at, oh my god, she jumped to 75 million. Oh my god, Rafi, we're at 10 million with Modernia. Oh, that's kind of crazy. She jumped to 10 million. Or 75 million with the click of reverse scale. So 10 million to what though? I feel like 10 million to 73 million for Modernia is very, very good though. But now we're using her burst skill. Now the thing about Modernia's burst skill, right, is that it becomes weaker depending on how many enemies you're fighting, right? Because she has unlimited bullets, yes, but rather than her normal attacks being a total of 7.71%, it goes down to 2.24% of final attack of damage, right? The only thing is she has unlimited bullets, she has 5 extra seconds on her full burst, and every single enemy that is recognized within that circle radius is going to be attacked, whether she's aiming at them or not. So she needed to be attacking a minimum of 4 characters to hit harder than if she was to not be on her burst skill. And that was the whole thing with her, right? Because she has unlimited bullets. Sorry, what's her damage at? 92 million right now. I was a bit late. Let's see, right? 92 million. She does do additional damage as well for every normal attack she does. That's what that is at the bottom there. But 92 million to what? 92 million to 164 million, right? But I feel like, yeah, Modernia was just better off if you never used her burst skill. That's what I would say, especially when you're fighting one enemy, right? Because right now we're not using her burst skill. Everything is acted the same. She's at 174, and without, you know, using her burst skill, right, she goes from 174 to, let's take a look, to 240, right, which is very, very good. I feel like Modernia is a character that is still a very good off burst 3 character, but she's definitely a character that like isn't like the go-to choice, and using her burst skill is kind of a waste, because like I know it's 5 extra seconds of just her burst skill and it's kind of pointless to do that, but I'm not too worried because we get our burst skill back instantly, right? With this team you get your burst skill back instantly, literally, so it's not a problem. But is Modernia bad? No. Modernia is not a bad character. Is she a triple S character in today's meta? I wouldn't say so. I feel like with the new meta, her original role was off, because I would say genuinely, like, even though she was the best in the game, we didn't have many DPSs back then. We didn't have many crazy DPSs back then, right? So in like when it was her time as number 1, she wasn't competing with much, and because of that, you would use her as like the main burst 3 character. And I felt like when we got a bit more DPSs, so that 2024 era, that's when she became more of a on-field burst 3 DPS to a flex burst 3 DPS, and that was kind of her main role for a while. But now in this 2025 meta and the 2024 meta to this 2025 meta, she is completely like kind of off that, because Helm exists, Crown exists. I think ever since Crown came out, where people were putting like Naga as that flex unit, that's when Modernia lost her sauce, because it's like you could not use Modernia as the main burst 3 anymore at that point, and then Naga was always taking over that flex spot for Crown, right? Or Rapunzel, or whoever it was you were using to get that heal for Crown, right? And now with favorite item Helm, it's kind of impossible to ever see, like with Little Mermaid favorite item Helm and Crown, it's really impossible to see Modernia in that spotlight. Like, that's what I think. But she's currently at 70 million. She's type advantage and stuff like that. We're just gonna ignore what Rappy is doing. Like, Rappy is just Rappy, right? It is what it is. But I will say that is like the only thing I can 100% say with my chest. I feel like she's still a great character. I feel like you would still get good performance with her as an off burst 3 unit. I'm sure you could still use her as an off burst 3 unit and get something good, right? I'm sure you could probably still rack her up with Rappy, because people still do use Modernia. Like, I still use Modernia when I'm fighting Anomaly Interception, that one fire stage. Even though I'm not supposed to, I do use her, and I get quite decent scoring, I think. I don't remember. I usually only do Kraken, so I don't remember. But when I do fight that stage. But I know I have Modernia on my team there and stuff like that. Wow. 17 to top 10. Wow. 4 billion. Okay. But she ended up getting 906 million, which is quite upsetting, because it's like, I feel like she could have gotten a billion, especially being 10-10-10 with full overload gear and all her stuff. But because Modernia, if you guys know Modernia, and my Modernia especially, never has to reload. Never has to reload. Because she has way too much bullets, and especially with someone like Little Mermaid who reloads bullets, and then when you go into Modernia's burst skill, she has unlimited bullets. She never has to reload. She is always shooting. So yeah, but Modernia, let me know what you guys think about Modernia. I just wanted to, I want to do more of these videos where I kind of put the spotlight on these old characters that we used to look at more. Obviously the meta now has like completely shifted to Pilgrims and favorite item Helm. Like, that's all it really is, Pilgrims and favorite item Helm. But let me know what you guys think about Modernia. If you guys are still using Modernia, and if she's still popping off and carrying you guys through the meta, let me know. But for now, it's going to be your boy Zxous, and I will see you guys in the next one. I'm out later. Peace.